Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Ete with another episode of The Company Next Door. I'm here with some friends that I just met about a month ago. You know, we were down at the Mountain Resort Park here in Heber, Utah. And on Saturdays, one of the cool things that happens is the food truck comes. And everybody's excited. The kids are excited. I was excited. And, you know, this food truck shows up, you know, some hot dogs and some ice cream and some different things. And we'll talk about it. When I walked up to the window to see what was going on, I knew right away there was some type of story here because I just started talking to these two. And so I asked them if they would come and do an interview. And here we are. The name of the food truck is the Great American Food Truck. And my guests today are Isabel and David Dupes. First of all, guys, thank you for taking a little bit of time and let me come into your home to do this episode.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here.
Awesome. Super happy to be here. I've always had a dream of a food truck. When I was a kid in Jersey, I wanted to get a hot dog cart and pull it along the shore on the beach because I saw there's so many people sitting there. I could make so much money. And so you're actually living my dream as a kid. Is it a fun experience? What's it like doing it?
When I'm here in the U.S., for a long time, you know, I had to look for something to do.
Yeah.
We always think the food truck will be something really good for me. I love to cook. I always want to be a chef. I started in study, but I don't finish it. But I love to work in big kitchens. I always been trying here. I tried in Florida. I tried in Ohio. And I finally get to here to Heber, and it's like, this is my place. It's like things are starting coming through for me, you know?
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. So you came from Venezuela. David, where did you come from?
I am originally from the Midwest. I grew up in Ohio, rural Ohio, grew up on a farm.
Really?
7 miles outside of a small town. And was there until my 30s. In my 30s, I moved to Nashville. I was in Nashville for 10 years.
Music capital, I mean...
Music capital. I was around a lot of musicians. I'm a software engineer, so I was working as a software engineer there originally for clients that from my practice in Midwest, in Northwest Ohio.
Sure.
And then when I got to Nashville, I started recruiting new clients there. I remember one August, and it's hot in August in Nashville. But I made a list of 200 clients to go visit. And out of those 200 clients, I got 198 no's and 2 yeses. And that was the launch of my business in Nashville.
Wow, that's some persistence.
It's what had to be done to establish new business in an area where people weren't familiar with me. In Ohio, it was a place I'd grown up. People knew me, saw me grow up into engineering, knew my reputation, and word of mouth did a lot for me.
Sure, but in Tennessee,
in a new market, no one knew me.
So you just went out there and hustled. I mean, wow.
I came up with some great clients out of it.
Wow.
Some clients of those first 2, they both were still my clients when I left Nashville.
Wow. And so growing up on a farm, are we talking, just to get some background for both of you, we're talking cows and animals or just a farm? I mean,
we raise cattle. Initially, we were crop farmers. We had soybeans, wheat, oats, corn. And I was maybe 6, 7 years old when we started raising cattle. So we would go to the auctions and buy newborn cattle, raise them to be yearlings, and sell them again at auction after a year, and then they were raised out to be old enough for market by someone else. Wow.
So it's funny growing up around that and then getting into technology.
Yes,
software, yeah. You know, sometimes people stay in that area. So you're in Venezuela. As a kid, were you, I mean, you know, I'm sure your mother, your grandmother, good cooks?
Well, my grandma, my dad.
Your dad?
My dad, yes.
Okay.
He always wanted to be a chef too. But he's an economist. So, But he's the one who always cook in home. And eventually he teach my mom.
Really? That's awesome.
My mom learned to cook because I don't want to eat in home. You always want to go in my grandma's house.
Yeah.
And my mom eventually learned to cook so I can eat in home.
Wow.
But my dad, he's pretty passionate and he like to do all kind of stuff. We don't mix pretty well in the kitchen. But but I always
so when you all get in the kitchen, it can get a little heated, huh?
Yes.
And so growing up, so your dad's, I mean, so you said he's an economist?
Yes.
And so, okay, so he was out of the house working, and then but he was also cooking. Just he loved to cook, or what?
Yes, he loved to cook. He loved to come home. He for any reason he can come during lunchtime. He come and make lunch. Actually, we have a rule. It's like because my parents work, so whoever gets first in the house has to make lunch for everybody.
Oh, I would not want to be first then.
Yeah, but usually that's how it works. So usually when he can get home, he made lunch for us, and he can do dinner. Or during the weekends that he's off, he's always planning to do grill something. Or he loves to have people in the house, invite people and come and eat.
And in Venezuela, big family.
We are a big family.
Yeah,
so we get together very common.
Let's talk a second about the culture down there in Venezuela, because Latin, a lot of the places down south, I mean, the culture, depending on where you go. I mean, I've been to Puerto Rico, I've been to Panama, all over. Sometimes it's very vibrant, very rich, family-centered.
Yeah.
Is that what Venezuela's like? I mean, was it like open house? People just show up and eat and play music, or what's it like?
It's not like open house, but yeah, we get together very often. We have a big family, and every little thing we celebrate. Every little thing, every birthday, every graduation, every little thing.
We
have an opportunity to get together and to celebrate.
And the celebration always includes food?
The celebration always includes food, for sure. Especially, like say, my dad liked to cook. He always liked to, what are I going to do this with? Sometimes he did tostadas.
Yeah.
Sometimes he go Mexican. Sometimes he do like grilling, like we call parrilla.
Sure.
Sometimes he made sopas.
Wow. So just all over.
Yeah, and drink is just is the way we recreate in that way.
Was it a big family? So did you grow up with a lot of siblings and?
Well, I have a very big family, but I grew up in Valencia, in the city, and my family there is more smaller.
Okay.
And we used to go during the long weekends or in the holidays or big vacations. We go to my other side of the family. That is in Paraguaná, and they're huge family. It's a little town where half of the town is my family, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So and the same thing, they love to cook, so they made chivo. There's like
it's sheep scope.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's like
I haven't tried that one.
It's like a stew with potatoes. It's my favorite one.
Really?
Yeah. I don't have it for years. My grandma used to do it.
Okay.
And she was the best doing it.
Wow.
And eventually, some other my cousins, they know how to do it too, and I love it. For Christmas, we made a huge big party.
Wow.
Where we made tamales, we call hallacas.
Hallacas.
And we made pan de jamón. It's a special Christmas bread. And we make all kinds of food that's only special for Christmas.
And for the hallaca, everyone sits around the table and folds the hallaca in the banana leaf, and so it's
something you do together.
Yes,
everyone.
Yeah.
Because we make hundreds when we're making it, and it's take time.
Yeah.
So if we make it all together, it's easier.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, it sounds fun. And David, for you, growing up in Ohio, was it a big family? A lot of food getting together like this, or
no?
What was your upbringing?
We grew up on a farm, and it's the nuclear family. I have a brother and a sister, and my parents, and it was mostly us on the farm.
Wow!
So we had meals, and my mother was a wonderful cook, but mostly us. For holidays, we would have family. Usually came to us because we were on the farm.
Yeah.
Everybody liked to be out in the country in the nature.
Sure.
So, and my mother would prepare a big meal, and the aunts would chip in, and sometimes we would go hunt for game.
Wow.
Around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Particularly.
Sure. Yeah.
But like that.
You stayed there until about how old were you when you actually left? Because I know, did you leave and come back, or did you? I guess
I come a few times to US, but I was like my first time I was like 18, something like that.
And where'd you come to?
I go to Miami. I
Okay.
have two uncles, my uncle in Miami, and I used to come to visit them. So I come and the second time is when I met you.
That's right.
Yeah, I just come for vacation.
Okay.
Visit my uncles, and I don't really come to US until 2009.
2009 is when she got her
My-
permanent residence visa.
Yeah.
So she came then working towards citizenship.
So
in
before that,
2009.
you had just come a few times for vacation, see
Yeah,
uncles.
I come twice because after that they're starting denying my visa. They know I meet David, so they know I have other intentions.
Yeah, you got an agenda there. What was it like coming from Venezuela to even to Miami to visit? I can't imagine.
Wow, was wow.
Totally different.
Yes,
I mean,
it's such a big, huge city, and it's just such a much fun, and everything is big.
Yeah, that's America.
Everything is big. Everything is beautiful, pretty, clean, and very organized, and you know, they have everything. You
Yeah.
know, so it was really wow. I like it.
You came to visit. Did you have? Did you ever want to move here permanently? I mean, I know you eventually did, but you just came, had a great time, and went home.
Yes,
'Cause you-
I always want to move to Europe. That was my dream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it's just like say I want to I want to study for chef, and I want to go to Europe and learn there. I want to go, and you know, but you know, I always had the chance to do it, but at the same time I was afraid to go on my own to
Sure.
Europe.
Yeah.
So I always let it go and let it go. And I started working in Venezuela. I studied hospitality.
Okay.
So I had the opportunity to work in very good hotels there. And I was doing a career there, and I was going good. So I pushed that dream to become a chef in the side and to go to Europe. I just was doing good there. And I just come here for vacation, and I meet David.
Yeah. So, what were you doing in Miami? Because so you had Nashville.
I was working almost my entire career. I've been an independent consultant. During that time, I was working for a Southwest regional consulting firm, and had accumulated a lot of vacation that it came to a point you either take it or lose it.
Okay.
So I took, at the end of the year, almost 3 weeks of vacation.
Wow.
And went to Miami.
So you were just on vacation. Okay.
I went from Miami to Park City with the intention of returning back to Nashville and back to work. When I was in Miami, I met Isabel, and she talked me into returning instead of to Nashville to Miami.
You must have been persuasive. Maybe
Well,
not.
he was hard to get. Don't.
Yeah.
You know, he was like in the beginning. He don't really was that interested.
Yeah.
It's like you're too young for me.
So I went back to Miami.
Yeah.
Then we visited, spent New Year's Eve together. Isabel goes back to Venezuela. I go back to work in Nashville, and we're chatting. And she's convincing me to come to Venezuela to visit. So within a couple of months was my first trip to Venezuela.
And what was your experience? Now let's go the other way.
Incredible.
Coming from the States to Venezuela.
Well, the city she grew up in, Valencia, is where I went to visit her. And it was, if you would have blindfolded me, taken me there, and taken the blindfold off, I would have thought I was somewhere in Miami. We were at a nice cafe.
Wow.
It was like a street cafe like you would find in Miami. And the climate was similar. There were mountains around, so that was a clue.
Oh, that's awesome.
But really a beautiful place. It's beautiful. It's a great city.
Wow. So
And the culture is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, very family-centric, like she said. On that first trip, she did take me to meet her parents.
Wow.
So we go to her house, and her father was grilling. What did
You know, that day, because he's coming from U.S. and he never been in Venezuela, that day he made all Venezuelan dishes that he can make.
So I go, and it's 3 generations living in the house, which is very typical of
How many
Venezuela.
people? How many people?
Well, her grandparents and aunt lived on the first floor, then her parents, her brother, and herself on the second floor of the house.
And that's common.
That's common.
Yeah.
Yes.
And totally, are these big homes? What are the homes
Yeah.
It's not a small home, but
Okay,
it's not
gotcha.
big by U.S. standards. But
Sure,
it's
but
a
not-
decent-
but not like
they
other
were-
countries, you
They
think?
weren't on top of each
Gotcha,
other, and
okay.
it's a nice home. She
Gotcha.
grew up in a nice neighborhood and in a nice home.
Yeah, we.
But tell about his career. It's really interesting what he does
But you
for a
know
living.
better.
Now you know.
They're fighting over who doesn't have to tell the story.
He come to home. So like I said, my parents made this bit, all kind of dishes, Venezuelan dishes, so he can try all the Venezuelan gastronomy. And my grandfather is the only one to speak English.
Wow.
Your brother a little bit as well.
My brother just a little bit,
bit.
but anybody else in home really speak English.
Wow.
So my grandfather is primo who talk to he and tell he everything about the family. So my grandfather, he's a captain. He used to work for Shell in that time. Later, PDVSA is the big petroleum company in Venezuela.
Sure.
And he used to be the captain of the petroleum ships and go all around Europe,
Wow.
New York, Cuba, everywhere for years. So his ship was Independence One. Is the big ship Venezuela have in the beginning of the history.
Wow. That's
And
awesome.
he was somewhat of a national hero because he was the ship captain that sailed the first Venezuelan-owned ship to Europe with oil
Wow.
and was recognized for that.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
So that's why he speaks English too.
Yeah.
Plus, he's very smart. He was very smart guy. He learned in his own. He educated himself. He just need a little bit or a book or anything, and he gone.
He could just learn it.
Yeah.
Love technology.
Yes.
Wow.
I don't know. I remember. I think was maybe 5 years old, and he bring the first Apple to the house. The Apple computer. When
Yeah.
Apple get his big computers out the first time, he get 2 because he has to have it.
He's one of those guys that waits in
And
line when the next iPhone comes out.
When internet get in Venezuela, he right away was having the line for get internet by the phone in the line because he has to see how that works.
That's awesome. Wow. Okay. Wow. So that's definitely painting an interesting picture in my mind. So he goes out. So you're persistent as far as you're getting, like you said, you make 200 phone calls and get the last 2, but she's persistent in getting you. I mean, hey, come meet my family. So you're walking into the home and none of them are speaking English, except very few.
Very few, exactly.
Are you just like, what am I
Isabel
doing
at that
here?
time
They hate me.
Isabel didn't speak much English at that time either, a little bit.
How's your Spanish?
It's not good.
Okay.
For the amount of time I lived there, it should be better.
Okay.
I had too many crutches, I think, and maybe other priorities. I really regret not having learned to speak Spanish better. I can get by a little bit, but
Interesting. So then what happened? So you went on this trip to Venezuela, then you came back to the States then, or did you not come back after that?
I came back to the States. That was a short trip. To go to Venezuela, I think it was a 4-day weekend. So I went for that trip. Within 2 months, I was back again for a 2-week stay. And on that trip, we went different places around the country, and the country's just beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful young Venezuelan girl in a beautiful romantic country. It
it's
was
just
impossible to not just, I fell in love.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that was in March. By August, I'd moved to Venezuela.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you able to continue with your clients, all the work you were doing?
I did. At
Okay.
that time, I had a couple of good clients. I think October of that year, I made a trip back to the U.S. recruiting new clients.
Yeah.
And while here, I came up with a couple of good ones that really carried us through 10 years in Venezuela.
Wow. So then you went back and you were there for 10 years?
No.
Or more?
That was our primary residence.
That was your primary residence for how long?
10 years. But in 2009, when she got her visa in April of 2009 to become a permanent resident with the goal of becoming a citizen, at that point we had to spend at least 6 months every year in the U.S. So we were going back and forth mostly.
Why? Why did you want to have your residency? I mean,
no.
it sounds great back there.
Well, he because he liked Venezuela, I liked the U.S. I was trying to go to Europe, but
You
I
trying to get to Europe,
out.
but you'll settle for the U.S.
Yeah, I want to get out. I want to get out of Venezuela. Was the whole thing, and I don't was expecting he falling that so much in love with Venezuela that he wanted to stay.
That's awesome.
So all that changed, but I come here and I kind of like it and not like it. So really work out anyways. I can come 6 months here, 6 months there. So in that time I can spend a lot of still time with my family. And I never was homesick because I just go on vacation here. And when I get tired of Venezuela, I'm coming here again.
Yeah, not
and
bad.
I want to get out of Venezuela because I know things bad's gonna happen. So that was the whole thing.
Things like with
the political
with the
situation,
political situation,
the president,
yeah.
all that
You
stuff.
could see it coming a long way down the road.
Really?
Yes. By the time I was there, you could already see that things were not functioning as they should and not as well as they had been. But even from there, it was a long, steady, slow decline into what it eventually became, and eventually came to a point that we couldn't live there anymore.
Wow.
Not by choice. By choice, we would still be there.
Yeah, we moved to, like, I'm from Valencia, but after we get married, we moved to Margarita Island. And this is a beautiful island. It's a place that I love to be there, so he loved it. So live there is like in the beginning was like a party, like a big pary.
Yeah, just loving it. Life
exactly.
is good.
We don't have kids, so
Yeah.
really was just like a big, huge party. You know, he's working, but he's working from home, doing
Yeah.
his thing.
Were you working during that time?
I started with time. I trying to work in different hotels there.
Okay, so still in that
Yeah.
hospitality.
Yes, I was trying. I was working in a chain from Spain, in a hotel, and so my goal was like working there, and maybe eventually can send me to Europe or something, or any hotel around the world. I work in other restaurants. I know some people from Valencia. They come to the island and start a new restaurant, very fancy restaurant, and they know me. I work in their catering business in Valencia for a little while,
Okay.
and they love it. So I started work with them in the restaurant too, so I can learn more and more. Was very, very fancy. And eventually, when we finally moved to another town in El Yaque, I start my ice cream business.
Oh.
I do my own ice cream, like gelato. I learned to make gelato.
Whoa.
And nobody
Wait a minute. Where's the truck?
Oh, no, in that time I have a little chat in the beach.
Oh.
And he have a hammock next to the chat.
Yeah, I bet. I'll just sit in that hammock.
One of my best jobs ever was working in that kiosk on the beach selling ice cream.
Man.
Kite equipment in the corner. So if the wind kicks up in the afternoon, I'm sorry, Isa, but I'm going kiting.
Like say, living there was like a party. So I forget Valencia.
Yeah.
And I become from Margarita.
So did you start this ice cream?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so this was your first business.
Yes, that was my first business. In that
She's
time.
a serial entrepreneur. It goes back years.
This is what I'm finding
when
out.
she was younger, she would do things. She wanted to go to a conference in Caracas, so she would decide. Her and her friend went out and bought a bunch of glasses that then they sold on the beach. At one time, they had a donut business for a couple of months to save up enough money to take whatever trip they wanted to take.
My parents, my parents are very hardworking, but they're not rich. And I always want too many things. And I always want to do too many things. So, they don't tell me go to work or any of that, but I say, okay, well, I'm going to do this so I get my money.
Yeah.
And nobody can tell me, no, you don't can have it.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're self-driven. I mean, you're just, if you want something, you're going to go after it.
Yeah.
What was it like starting this ice cream? Like over there, did you have to do permits and things? Is it very complicated, or do you just start selling? How does it work over there?
In the beginning, you start.
Yeah, make the money.
Make the money. And you make the money for become bigger. You need the permit, you need the taxes, you need all that stuff. But you can start with nothing. So I worked for this restaurant in Margarita that was pretty fancy. So I go to Caracas to learn to make ice cream from a group called Mundo Helado. They go all around. They actually come here to U.S. in Texas, and they teach you how to make gelato. They are Argentina.
Wow.
And was really good. So I tell David, he bring me my first ice cream machine. Was a very small machine, a Cuisinart. They only made like one quarter ice cream.
Wow.
So and when I come from Caracas, I meet the people who can sell you the ingredients. So I order the first ingredients and I start my ice cream in this little machine for the neighbors.
Because it's a small machine, right? So you didn't have volume.
It's just I invite people home, try the ice cream, and they invite me to their house to have the dinner, and I take the dessert so they can try the ice cream. And everybody that tried the ice cream was like, wow, this is so good. It's not good ice cream around.
But initially her goal was to do direct to consumer sales.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So she's selling to the neighbors, and then she's approaching some convenience stores to put her ice cream in the convenience stores. And then she decided she wanted to put the kiosk on the beach, selling directly to consumer there. Actually, that's not true. She started out walking the beach with a cooler.
That was my dream.
Selling
That was
selling
my
ice
dream on
cream.
the Jersey Shore.
But here's what she ran into. She ran into the ice cream mafia
Yeah.
that already had their kiosk, or they had their carts there.
And they had their territory.
They had their
Yes.
territory, and they did everything they could to try to regulate her out of the business.
Yeah.
So to avoid that, she decided she would get a kiosk and
Kiosk.
be a
In the
business,
beach.
and they couldn't run her off the beach that
Exactly.
way.
That's awesome. And so here she is selling this, and you're just on the hammock. Nah, I'm sure you were. I'm sure you were helping. But when there was a good wind, you went and took
That's
your kite out. I got
exactly
that.
right.
When we was doing the ice cream, a lot of kids on the village were trying to teach him Spanish, and he was learning them.
And these are 8, 9, 10-year-old kids.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
Melissa, she was
Yeah.
a strict instructor. If I got a word wrong, she would smack my hand.
An 8-year-old kid.
That's right.
And
She
they,
was tenacious, young
they teach him
girl.
English, and they all around the little chat in the beach, and they want ice cream, so they always get free ice cream and all the stuff. They help me out. They
Yeah.
want to learn how to make the cones and all that stuff. And eventually, I crash with somebody I go to the big town, and I crash with the owner of the restaurant that I used to work. And he wants some ice cream. He's asking me, what you doing? I say, well, I'm doing my own ice cream. I say, well, you can do ice cream for the restaurant. You're sure? What flavor you want? What flavor you can do? Well, I do pistachio, I do this, I do that. So yeah, I like the pistachio, and I want a Bailey's ice cream. Can you make a Bailey's ice cream? You're sure? And he gives me the bottle of Bailey, and starting practice. Same happened with another restaurant that we used to go all the time to have dinner there. It's a Mexican restaurant. They know me because we always go there. And the bartender one day calling me, you tell me that you're gonna learn how to make ice cream. Yo, yeah. So what happened? Yo, well, I'm making some ice cream. I'm selling ice cream in the beach, all that. Okay, let me call the chef because we want somebody to make corn ice cream for the restaurant. So I start in practice the ice cream. I do 3 different samples, and they're, I like this one, but it's not right there. Keep practicing. So I practice again. I make another samples. So by the 3rd time, okay, this is what we want. We like it. So they start. It's a big restaurant, very famous restaurant in the island too.
Wow.
And they start buying my ice cream too. They find 5 liters, like 4 containers of 5 liters every week. So in that time, he was
It
in
became their signature dessert.
Yeah.
And it's traditional in Mexico to take the corn ice cream and put it back in the corn husk, frozen.
Cool.
And serve it as a dessert that way. So they love that. And the people that were familiar with that loved that dessert.
And
And,
so,
they were very loyal to Isa for providing that ice cream.
so you're getting your start in the ice cream.
Yeah.
And so you're starting to provide it for these restaurants, and their customers are coming in and loving
Yeah.
it. Wow. So what happened?
What happened? Finally, my paper from U.S. arrived,
Oh.
and they said, you have to come to U.S. before this time, or you're going to lose all the paperwork.
Wow.
Okay.
She'd been waiting a year and a half for the visa to be approved to come. So when it came, and it was a narrow window. It was 30 days or something like that.
Wow.
She had to come to the U.S.
That's crazy.
to do the initial entrance. And when she came the first time, she had to stay for 6 months before she could leave.
Wow.
So she closed the business down.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you learned a lot. I mean, that sounds like a great experience.
Yeah. Well, he always helped me a lot. He pushed me to a lot. He wanted, from the beginning when we come to U.S., he wanted I keep doing that.
Yeah.
But this was a different country,
Yeah.
different language, different rules.
Definitely.
So
yeah.
everything was different. So, I don't really can do it right away or in the beginning. It was very overwhelming. So take a while. And, like say, okay, I used to come all the time, but it was more like a vacation thing.
Yeah.
So I don't have time really to work or learn many things. So until now, 4 years ago, that we moved here. And, when we want to come here, he tell me, we was in Venezuela, and said, you're going to have to work. I no problem, I work. So, but I never worked in U.S. before.
Yeah.
And so it was hard. So what I do the first time was like get a job in Walmart. And in that way I can speak, because I spent too much time in Venezuela in the past, so I don't speak too much English. I don't feel comfortable speaking English. So it's getting a job there. If I do it wrong, nobody gonna get that mad with me.
Yeah.
I'm messing it up so much. Anything. So, and I can speak, and I can be with people, and I can have a job and learn and be comfortable in this country.
Sure. It's very smart. I get it.
So that's where I started.
So when was it? You said it was 2009 when you guys kind of came over here full time. You were in Florida then. When you came, where did you come to?
No, when we came in 2009, we went to Ohio.
Okay.
Because that's back home for me.
Yeah.
Easy to go.
You had a network.
Had a network. Could hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Reasonably well. She started the concession business there with the trailer that she said before wasn't very pretty. It was quaint though. People actually liked it.
Yeah.
Didn't look professional like the people she was competing with.
Sure.
But it looked nice. Was well accepted. So we're doing that, and somewhere during that time, she discovered that she was pregnant. With our oldest son.
Yeah.
And that changed things.
It always does.
Yeah, so before he born, we decided to sell the trailer because, all the plans we was having changed.
Sure.
So we decided to sell the trailer because I want to enjoy my baby, so I'm
Yeah.
not going to be doing the trailer or any of that. After he born, actually, we decided to take it to Venezuela. It's my first baby, so all my family want to know him and all that. So the sooner we can, we go back to Venezuela.
He was just barely 2 months old.
And you took him back.
Yeah.
We traveled back, yes.
Wow.
And when we went back, we stayed 6 months.
6 months. And we come back, 6 months, and that we go back to Ohio, to another town. And we keep doing that for a few years. We spent
6 months here, 6 months in Venezuela.
That's awesome.
Until one day I come in for my 6 months, and the customs stop me and say, hey, you don't get keep doing this, going in and out. You want to be a resident? You want to live here or no? Or what you want? I want to do what I do.
I want to be in both. Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Well, but that not work with the resident card you have.
Oh.
If you keep doing that, the next time you come in, we're gonna stop you and we're gonna take your resident card out.
Wow.
So, how long you been here? You already have time for, and you are married with him. You already have time for do your citizenship. So in the beginning, he's like, I don't want to become a citizen. I don't want to be U.S. citizen. I'm okay with Venezuelan citizen.
And you were really nervous about the citizenship test, too.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, I thought the test. I know when I pass the test, I have to speak English. I have to learn the history.
Honestly, I can't imagine. That would be, there's a lot on the line.
But, I had to do it, so we started the process for doing it. And most people, when I start this process, don't go out either, because they say if you keep doing in and out during this process, they may not give you the citizenship.
Wow.
But I still did it. And I get all my paperwork with no problem. I pass all my tests, everything with no problem. Was actually easier than I thought.
And then so did you get dual citizenship then?
I had dual citizenship.
So after that, no more problems. You were free to come and go?
Yes, I'm free to come and go or spend any time I want in each country.
Okay.
It's just at least one time of the year, at least for one day, I need to come to U.S.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah. We keep doing we say after I get the citizenship, we actually starting to spend more time in Venezuela. So we finally can finish to build our house in Venezuela. They will be my second business because we build this big huge house. There's like a guest house. So we're gonna try to have a guest house with
and rent it out
rent it out.
The community, it was a beach resort. A lot of European tourists come, some North Americans, and highly sought after destination. So the hotels in town were high occupancy and charging pretty good rates.
So you saw that and you said, hey, let's build something.
Exactly, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah, for a while.
That was what we imagined we would do.
Right, that was
for a living. That was plan A.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've learned is don't bother planning because you'll go through A, B, C, D, E, F to Z, you know?
So we build this house, and the same thing. We have a nice kitchen there. The idea is I can cook for people and all that stuff because it's what I enjoy to do. Like he say, we spend a lot of time more there, so we can finish the house the sooner the later.
Yeah.
And we get there. We now need a pool and a few other things, but we really finally have the house, and things are starting to get really bad in Venezuela.
Political and government. Okay.
Yes. So I don't feel. In many other times I don't feel safe, but this time was really bad. I was feeling like people was watching me. I was feeling like something bad gonna happen. So I had the kids in the school in town, thinking this is the safest place to have there. And I started thinking it's not really that safe.
That's scary.
Because everybody, he's American, and they have this, the government is putting this thing in people's minds that the Americans have the dollars and they have it's because they're why the bad things are happening in Venezuela.
Oh, gotcha.
So it's a little town where everybody knows everybody. Eventually, a few weeks before that, they break in a little house or a lady that lives in town, a lady from town. And they don't have anything to rob in the house, but they still break in and they rob the lady's food.
Jeez.
So when I saw that, people used to come home to my house to deliver food, big package of food, because in that way I don't need to go to the market or I don't suffer about shortage. If you don't find this, I always have everything I need. And like I say, it's a little town. Everybody knows I'm doing that. We have people working in the house. So we're living pretty well.
Yeah.
But
so you're a target.
Exactly. But everybody around me in town is not living that way.
Gotcha.
I taking my kids to windsurfing class, and the instructor is telling me he has 3 days he don't eat.
Wow. So
and here all this was really hard too, because I trying to help everybody I can, but I don't really that rich. So what's too much I can do, I do what I can.
Yeah. And
that was affecting me because I don't know how I can live inside my walls in one way when I know everybody
else is in danger. Yeah.
So we decided, I tell him we have to go, we have to move. And my neighbor who used to live in the back, he's usually who kind of protect us a little bit, and he not was there anymore. And he tell me, well, what you can do is buy a gun. So no, I don't want a gun. So eventually we made the decision that it's better we go, because I already was kidnapped. Not kidnapped. I have a bad experience when I was
You were held at gunpoint.
I was held at gunpoint one time because they robbing the car from our house, my parents' house.
When you were younger?
When I was younger.
Okay. That's scary. That's scary. That stays with you for a long time. When
I was 18, getting ready to go to college, I usually go to downtown in my city because it's dangerous. But that day my father left me there because I had to go to the bank and pay for the college and all that stuff. And somebody put some kind of drug in my face.
Wow.
And was a very bad experience too. So I already had this experience, so I don't want my kids, they're so little, pass for this, I don't want they kidnap my kids for asking me for food or for a few $100.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Or put a gun in my kid's face for things like that. So I decided it's just time to go. I see the house. We work pretty hard in make it. It's our dream, but we have to let it go.
That was in September of 2016.
Wow.
And we left in September of 2016 thinking we would be back in December to collect more things, to come back more permanently, and see if it was possible to go there for short periods of time at all. And we haven't been back since.
You haven't been able to go back?
No.
It's only gotten worse?
It's gotten worse. On the way out, the customs agent told Isa that when I returned, I would be detained, and they would send my information to Caracas, to the capital, and they would either instruct them to expel me, detain me for the secret police or allow me in. She says, overwhelming odds are you'll be allowed in, but the other two are a possibility.
Yeah.
So we didn't go back. Haven't been back.
So
And that situation, in a way, has gotten worse because there's more and more animosity between the governments, and Americans are targets.
So that's, I mean, in a sense, that's pretty heartbreaking to have to leave your country, this resort, this home that you're building.
Yeah, we love
And
it
a
there.
beautiful place, yeah. And so, do you still have it?
We do.
Yeah.
It's just sitting there.
It's sitting there.
Wow.
There are people that were caretakers before
Yeah.
that are living there now.
Wow.
And
But you
caretaking-
don't know when you'll be able to go back.
No, my parents used to help me and my cousins, my family, to take care of the house. Like every few months, they go to the island, so they spend time in the house. They do very deep cleaning. They fix everything that needs to be fixed because the corrosion and all that stuff.
Wow.
But after actually COVID come, it's gonna be a year. My parents don't can go back there
Because
either.
they can't go.
No.
Or
They can't
is
travel.
or is it on pretty good lockdown there? Is it like similar to what we're having
It's
here?
worse.
It's worse. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're just
So-
in their houses.
So yeah, and I have an uncle that live in the island too. But he living on the other side of the island, so he don't can get to my house either because it's gasoline shortage, so he don't can do it either. And the
Well,
same
40 miles away, he can't get enough gasoline on a regular basis to drive across the
insane.
island.
and the caretakers, they don't. It's not too much they can do because the same problem with gasoline is no public transportation, is no more taxis, is nothing of this, or cost way too much. So they and many places are closed anyway, so they don't can find like the regular things like paint or things that we need for keep the house.
Yeah.
in
So,
good shape.
how do you guys? Has that crushed your spirits at all? I mean, because this is 2016. It's not that long ago that we're talking that you kind of had to leave, and with the idea I'll be back, and like you said, it's getting worse in COVID. Is it crush you, or is it?
It's a slow process to come to the realization you can't go back.
That's how we get here.
It's how we ended up here because we ended up living in Fort Myers Beach, Florida, for 2 years, trying to kind of recreate the beach style life that we had there, and it wasn't the same. And just waiting for the day we could go back, and that's how we were living. Was waiting for the day, and we came to the realization that day
It's not coming.
you don't know when it will come, if ever.
Wow.
So we need to rebuild our life here and move on. And this is where we're going to be, and we hope for that to come back. If it never does, it never does.
So you're just able to find the strength to kind of move on in a sense, let go in a sense, and rebuild.
We're living in Florida, but like I said, we're not really enjoying it.
Yeah.
We're not sure what we want to do, but I tell David one day, anyways, I know he come to Park City when he meet me, and I always wonder why it's Park City. And I know he come to ski, and it's something that I always want to try or see or whatever.
Yeah, well, snow, right?
And of course, I want my kids learn to ski. So one day I tell him, hey, my kids are getting older. When we're gonna take them to ski? I tell, it's a place pretty cheap in North Carolina. We should take it there. So he started planning. So if I'm gonna tell you to ski, I'm gonna tell you to the best place in U.S.
Yeah, we're not going to North Carolina. We're going right to Park City. Oh, I love
exactly.
it.
Exactly. And you are sure, yes, I already have the tickets. I have everything planned, this, that. And I'm taking you in this time because it's less cold and you're gonna like it more. And we come, and I just love it.
Wow.
That was in March of 2018.
Wow.
And by October of 2018, we had moved here. Is that right?
Yeah, we come in March for the end of the ski season. My kids learn to ski in half day.
Wow.
And we go to Brighton, we go to Park City, and we go to Deer Valley. I love Deer Valley. And we come back for the summer because he's like, okay, we need to see it. We know what is the winter, but we need to see the summer and see if we really like it there.
Summer's awesome.
So
we knew we wanted to leave Florida and go somewhere else. And I've had people tell me, I've not spent much time in Colorado, but they say you love Utah, but you have to see Colorado.
Exactly.
I've heard that too.
So we We planned a trip. We took 7 weeks that summer while the kids were out of school and traveled all over Western U.S.
Wow.
Through Texas, New Mexico, spent a lot of time in Colorado, came through here, went to Idaho. Wyoming.
Yeah. I like Wyoming, I like Idaho, I like Grand Target. I thought that was a great place because I think it's a place with opportunities too. But he was sure. And, he loved Park City, but it's very expensive.
Yes, it is.
And I want a house in the hills by skiing out. So we no.
You need about 100 food trucks to get one of those Deer Valley ski and ski outs. Yeah.
So we we don't can do Park City. But, I just love this. I never was around this area. I never see Wyoming. I dream to camping in Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And we do all that stuff. And but I fall in love with the Grand Teton.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Easy to do.
It's so beautiful. Yeah. And so I just see all this area. It was just so beautiful. It's a part of the U.S. that I never imagined. It's so different.
Yeah.
I always go to Chicago, to New York, to Miami. So I come here and you can see mountains and you can see space and all natural and all so pretty. It's just, I fall in love with this area. So we go back to Florida and we decided to sell our house. And so we said, well, we're going to sell it. We probably can move back there before,
We were planning probably the spring of 2019.
Okay.
It'll take that long to sell the house, this, that, and the other. But it sold quickly.
Wow.
And we saw a gap in the school year. It says during this time we can leave here. They have their last day of school here. Get out there. Get them started in school for the next term. Because the two schools were offset a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they are.
Extra time.
So you ended up coming in 2018 then?
That's right. Came in October of 2018. Got them enrolled in the second quarter of school in Heber.
Wow.
And we was driving towards to Grand Target because it was more affordable. But in the middle of the tree, he said, why are we going there? We have to go close to Park City. That's what we like. That's what we love. That's what we want to move. So so I tell him, but we can't afford Park City.
We'll go there.
So let's go to Midway.
Yeah.
We drive a little bit for Midway when we was here in the summer. So I tell him, let's go to Midway. We may can find something there. And we stay in a hotel in Midway and we started looking around. We know about the Heber, but he don't like it. I don't was sure because we only see. I think we're not paying too much attention. I think when we actually drive through Heber.
Yeah. You just drive through it.
Exactly.
To go to Park City.
So we see the area where it's Walmart and that. I think we stop and in Panda Express, but we don't see anything.
Yeah, you don't see the special part of it. Just driving through.
I don't even drive this neighborhood anything.
Agreed.
So I don't know. So
what's here? Yeah.
Exactly. But when we stay in Midway in the hotel, we looking for places. And we started driving around and say, well, Heber is not bad.
Yeah.
And actually have everything, have more the Midway. The schools are closer.
Everything.
The high school is there, all this stuff. So we find this house and everything is like it has to be. Everything was easy for getting this house in the school here and all that. So
we made the hotel reservation on the way out. We ended up staying at the hotel 3 nights before we moved into this house.
That's insane.
It is.
I mean, it's insane to pack up from Florida, come to Utah without really where are we going to live?
Right.
But 3 days, I mean, that's, so it's not, sometimes when you're here's what I've learned. Sometimes when you're on the right track, the path you're supposed to be on, the doors open up.
That's exactly.
And it's kind of very natural. It just happens.
That's how I feel here.
Yeah.
From
same here. I came here at the same experience.
2 years later, it feels the same. Everything continues to fall in place.
Yeah.
So you got here in the fall of 18, and then did you just go through the winter? I'm sure you just skied all winter, but then did you say, hey, I want to get the food truck going?
Well, I get here, like I say, I love Deer Valley, so the first thing I do was go to find a job in Park City.
Okay.
And I go for the big one first. I go to the Montage.
Montage, yeah. That's a nice place.
I like fancy restaurants. I like to work for fancy places. Even when I know there yet, I just know it's where I'm gonna learn.
Yeah.
So I try, and they give me a job, but not the one I expected. So I tell them I'm gonna think about it. So the same afternoon, I go to Deer Valley, and I meet this chef, Steve. Is the pastry chef at Deer Valley, used to be. And I just clicked with him.
Wow.
You know, I tell him he's I don't really never work in a bakery.
But you always wanted to. You were actually considering enrolling in a school in Salt Lake City to learn bakery.
For learn bakery. So he's
Steve says, no, I'll teach you everything you need to know.
What?
Right?
Yes. So I actually was for the interview for the kitchen. But the chef for the kitchen was busy, so Steve confessed to interview me for the bakery because that was my other option. But I just say he's such a great guy. I clicked with him. He made me feel comfortable. He made me feel I can do it. I can learn, and I'm gonna be in the right place. So I tell him yes, and say, you still want to speak with the other chef? No. I stay here with you. And I started work for Deer Valley that season. And I love it. And like I say, they teach me a lot. They keep teaching me. I still work in the winters for Deer Valley. And when the summer is coming is when I go to the health department to see about what I have to do for next year.
Yeah.
Or have a food truck or something, or do something do my own thing.
Yeah.
And again, they were so welcome, so open. And they help me out and tell me, no, here is the farmer's market is coming. You need to get ready for that one.
Put you right. Yeah, wow.
Fill out application, bring it right away so you can have a spa. Okay.
So, things are just opening up for
I
you.
don't even know in that time what I'm going to do for sale. But that is when we decided to go with empanadas and the Venezuelan food and see how that works. I tell him, like I say, we don't know what to do. And I tell him, Venezuelan food is getting out there,
right,
being recognized out there. So let's try.
Yeah.
And work pretty well. I have a lot of fun. I learn a lot. And I made some money that made me available to go to my next step. That was the food truck.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so so you've just had the one food truck, right?
Yeah.
Because the Venezuelan food that you were doing at the market, that wasn't in a truck.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then here comes the Great American Food Truck.
Yes.
Which is
Well, she went out looking for the trailer.
Yeah.
And found the one that we're in now. Really nice deal. Everything fell in place. So she gets it, and it's already at the end of the season. So we're not at the farmer's market. We're not out as much. On the street, we're struggling, so we're not really very enthused to go out in that. So we're getting ready to prepare the trailer to be the Isa's Snack Shack.
Yeah.
With the Venezuelan food.
With the Venezuelan
food. But when we bought the trailer, it came with all the equipment to do the hot dogs. And the signage says hot dogs, corn dogs, and nachos.
Yeah.
And it is a hot dog, corn dog, and nacho trailer. That's what it is.
And so you didn't want to fight it. You said, let's go with it.
Let's go with this. But if we're going to do it, we're going to do the best hot dogs we can do. And we went out and researched the regional hot dogs, the recipes from around the favorite ones from around the country, the different places, Chicago, Detroit,
Seattle.
Yeah, he did all that. He do all that. I was working, I was busy, so he was doing all that during the winter.
Yeah.
So when the summer started again, we can get it out with a nice menu. We had chance to try one time during the winter in the Christmas lighting.
Yeah.
We go out that night with the hot dogs. We keep the empanadas, but we go out with the hot dogs, and people love it. We're having a line. In that time, the trailer still was all white.
Uh-huh.
And
before you wrapped it.
Before we wrap it, and we was parking next to Lola's, and we still do good. We still have a line.
Lola's is respected.
Yeah,
Lola's food truck. Their food's phenomenal.
It's legendary in this valley.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was one of the originals.
Sure.
And it's the one we all looked up to.
Yep.
And at that event, we were parked next to them, and our line was as long as theirs.
That's awesome. That's a good sign.
We shared some of our food with them. They shared some of their food with us.
Wow.
So we felt like, okay, the hot dog thing could work.
This can do it. Now let me jump in and put my plug, because when I met these guys over at the park, I think I told them I actually don't ever eat hot dogs. Very rarely. It's just not my thing. I just don't eat hot dogs. And I ordered the Seattle dog. Was it the Seattle dog? I think, is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember it had peppers on it.
Yeah.
Jalapenos?
Jalapenos.
Yeah, with some cream cheese, I think.
Yes.
Anyway, I ordered it, and that thing melted in my... I mean, I ate it in like 30 seconds, and I was like, I don't even know what I just ate. So these hot dogs are like out of this world hot dogs. We're not talking like, I'm going to the ballpark, I'm going to get a Frank's hot dog. These are fantastic. So you've got a great product. I just got to lay that for anyone who's listening. You've got to try these hot dogs, and my recommendation is the Seattle. But that's the only one I've tried so far. So anyway, so you do the Christmas lighting, and you're like, wow, our line is good. People are coming. They're coming to us and Lola's. This could be good.
Yeah, it was really good, and it was easy to people know what it is, a hot dog. Some people they don't know, maybe it was a Seattle hot dog.
Yeah,
or maybe
exactly.
not, but they know what is a
Venezuelan
Detroit
cuisine you had to explain and sell pretty hard.
Right, because
And
what is this? Well, what does it taste like?
Exactly.
What yeah.
Exactly.
And the hot dogs, they're fairly self-explanatory. People may want to talk to you a little bit since they're specialty hot dogs, but they sell themselves.
Yeah.
With her Venezuelan cuisine, it was top-notch. The food was great. People loved it. If you could get them to try it, they loved it. And with the hot dogs, too, they try it, they love it. We get great feedback.
Yeah.
We're getting ready for a start with the hot dog. We're wrapping the track. We still actually don't know, by Christmas, we still don't know a name. We don't know how we're going to call the business. And he kept looking and getting ideas for name. And one day, I don't know how, he come with this name. Why with the Great American Food Truck? I say, I love it. And he's like, he's like blue and red. And the flag and the Statue of Liberty, yes, I love it, I like it. So we go that way, The name was a little long, and supposedly for marketing it should be a short name. But I like it, so we decided to go that way. So, and we find this business in Salt Lake. They do the wrapping, and they do a great job for us.
Yeah, the truck looks great.
They finished the truck the beginning of March, and our plan was to get out and get selling.
This is March 2020.
That's March 2020.
This is March 15th, the day of COVID shutdown.
Yes.
In the restaurant
Things
business.
changed a little bit. I think we picked it up on the 13th of March.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you pick it up and you're so full of excitement.
Exactly.
And then like 3 days later, this happens.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. We're putting, money, time, and all in this, and now what we're going to do. And the valley was shut down. They sent me home.
I know, yeah.
So I don't have a job anyway.
Yeah.
We do our quarantine. We help the kids with the school. We do all that, thinking there's something they're going to pass.
Yeah, quickly.
But I have all my other friends from the other food trucks in town telling me, what you doing? Why you not coming out? It's COVID, it's not busy, nobody. No, we are busy. It's business. You need to come out. Especially Carlos from the tacos.
Yeah.
He really, it's like, what you doing? Why you not coming out? You need to come out. It's a lot of business out. Come out.
They changed the restrictions. The beginning of May is around then is when we came out. It's when actually we were just starting to leave the house. We quarantined for 2.5 months.
Sure.
So it was the beginning of May, and we're preparing for the season. So we went out to the Mountain Valley RV Resort to check with them about can our gray water still go here and make sure we still had our account. And they said, you know what, this coming weekend we're booked. We're really busy. Why don't you come out? So the first time out this season was at
that's how that began. That relationship began.
We had actually been there a little bit in the fall before, just a little bit, but then came back and from the very beginning, really well received there. And when we went out on Main Street and the different places around town, the community has been so supportive.
Awesome.
Yeah. We're just very.
It's an incredibly supportive community.
Yes.
Yeah. In the beginning too, we have the weekends in the RV park, but in the week, I know I can do Fridays on Main Street in the fire pit, but the other days really don't know where I park. So my neighbor, she's very helpful too. She speaks with his brother. They have a property there in
by the Zion Bank.
So they let me part there too. So I part there for a few weeks, and I did really good there too. And with time, the city lets the food trucks part in the mainstream other days, like Wednesday and Monday. The Sumpro people help me out too. They let me part there for a few times too. They actually invite me to the rodeo.
The principal, the manager there, the guy that runs Sunpro, lives in Oakley and is involved in that community a lot and involved in the rodeo committee. So he put our name in front of them. An individual from that organization reached out to us and asked us if we would do the Oakley Rodeo.
Wow.
So that was our
awesome.
We were set up
event.
to do it on Saturday. He says, you'll come Saturday. It starts on, I think it started on Thursday. They had other trucks lined up for the other days. On Friday morning, he calls us up and says, can you come today as well? So completely by surprise, we hitched things up. We go over there and did well on Friday. Much better on Saturday. We were really prepared for Saturday.
Wow.
And that was a great event.
Yeah.
Really nice.
And before that, actually, we was parking in Main Street, and a lady, they own Carmalone, or partner with Carmalone.
Okay.
They come to invite us too if we can do an event for their private event, because they do
It was police, our first responder appreciation meal that they did, and they sponsored, and they paid for.
Yeah.
And was really well attended.
Wow.
We really were grateful for that too.
Yeah. And eventually they decided to open the farmers market.
Yeah.
We do 6 weeks of the farmers market.
This summer you got 6 weeks in?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was really good. And we was really busy. Was very nice, a lot of fun. And that helped us a lot too. And we keep doing the RV part every weekend. We go to movie night. They used to have movie night in the park.
Yep.
So we go there and stay during the movie. And a lot of fun. And that's what we do this summer.
That's awesome. So, again, it sounds like, take away this COVID thing, it sounds like doors have really been open for you.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's been a good experience. The community's accepting you and loving having you here.
It is. It is like I say, I've been trying this business a few times here in the U.S., and it's always a learning experience.
Yeah.
It's not a business. I never can call it a business before, but now I can say it's a business.
Got a business. So let's stay on there. What have you learned? What's one or two of the big things that you've learned over the last couple years as a businesswoman?
One thing I learned too, it's really important how you look.
Okay, go on.
Because, like I say, my first trailer, no was that pretty. And, okay, I did business, I still did okay, but I did okay. And, like I say, I take this trailer out for the Christmas line and a few other days out with no wrapping, and we do some business.
Sure.
But after we finally get with the name and the art that how we want our truck look, and we wrap it, we get more attention, and we get calls from many, many people. We actually do an event in Park City a few weeks ago.
Wow.
For Westgate.
It was Westgate Resorts.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So
we felt like that was the big league because they're a luxury hotel.
Yeah, that's...
And they came, they sampled our food. When they show up, we knew who it was because they come in suits. And
you're like, uh-oh.
This is okay. Nervous.
Yeah.
But they really liked the food, contacted us a couple of days later and says, we really enjoyed it. We would love to have you come to our event. And we did. We went. We really enjoyed that.
And I think I love that lesson. It's branding, right?
Exactly.
You need to brand yourself like a real company, and you've seen the difference when you do and when you don't.
After you do it, people can identify you better.
Yes, and they trust you. You start building that trust. Like, okay, I know these guys do real work. I know their food truck's clean and legit. Well, what about you, David? What are some of the things that you've learned over the last couple of years?
The customer is king.
Yeah.
I'm an advocate of our customers all the time. Making sure that the quality is always there, the delivery times. I'm always the advocate of the customer. In my business, software engineering, I take on a project and it's not me and them, it's us, and we. And that's the way I feel about it. I feel like I am part of the project. I'm now part of this company. And I feel the same way that's carried over. That same mentality is carried over to this business, and I feel like I'm the advocate of this customer. I want
Yeah.
them to get the best we have to offer each and every time. And I think that's important.
Yeah.
That's everything, man.
Here's one thing I've learned in this is don't always go to the food truck with the longest line, because the one without the line is the one that had the line yesterday.
The line moves?
would
Is
have
that what it
never known.
is?
It definitely does.
Okay.
And if you start a line, your line doubles.
Is there a food truck? Because you mentioned earlier, hey, you weren't out and your friends were calling you from the other trucks. Is there like a food truck friend scene? Are you guys all texting each other? Hey, Lola's, I'm going over here.
It's informal, but we're a family.
Is that what it is?
It's
man!
Over the summer, especially this summer in particular.
So there's a unity. There's not it's not like
great
don't.
Unity.
You're working together.
Yeah.
I think initially we saw some competition.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily feel about it that way, but other people saw us coming in like we're competition. But that went away really quickly, and it's become family without question.
I love it.
Everyone is supportive of each other. If you can, give this individual a tip about there's an event over here you may want to look into, we do it. They do it. Everyone does.
And I just want to point that out. I think regardless of industry, that's a big thing. A lot of people tend to look at competition as competition instead of, I've always viewed them as friends, right? Because there may be some people that don't want hot dogs. They want what Lola's has. But then people go to Lola's, they want what you have, right?
Yeah.
And so
that's right.
Make
in
friends.
That group,
yes.
In that group of people, one of them wants a hot dog.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not meant to serve everybody. You
That's
have
right.
a,
That's exactly
and so
right.
I love that. I think make friends, make alliances will go much further than seeing everybody as a threat. Anyone who's listening to this, by the end, they're going to like you, even if they haven't had your hot dogs yet, because your personality comes through. Okay, I'm just telling you that. How important do you think that is in business to just connect with people, to make friends?
It's very important. You're the imagine of your business.
Yeah.
So it's really important. He discovered this year that he's really good at it. So, I always working with people all the time.
Yeah.
I work in hotels, I work in Walmart, I work in different things. David,
I'm a software engineer.
yeah.
Yes, you're by
I'm locked
yourself.
in an office.
Yeah.
I've spent a 35-year career as a software engineer.
And now he's out there helping me in that window.
Yeah.
It's different, and it's fun for me to be out there and meet people like you.
Yeah.
And have the conversations, 1,000 of them over the summer.
Yeah.
Each and every one interesting.
So what do you hope the future to be? Obviously, it's a little unpredictable right now, but what are your hopes and dreams with this company? Do you want to have more food trucks? Are you happy with just the one? What do you want to do?
My hope and my dream always was actually have a restaurant.
Okay.
But, like I say, here it's really more complicated, and especially right now.
Yeah.
And it's a very big investment. So David is pushing me there more for grow up my food truck business.
Yeah.
And has different food trucks, and maybe a little food trucks, maybe eventually get to the 100 so I can have the house with ski in, ski out. But we're gonna slowly get there.
Yeah.
I don't say hundreds, but David thinking in 10.
Yeah.
I don't know how many.
No,
I think at least 3, 4, and we
this
see.
trailer, she found a great deal, went out, paid cash, bought the equipment for it, letting cash flow from the business fund more and more equipment.
Awesome.
And she is getting ready to put a new food truck out.
Love
it's
it.
actually a truck this time.
Okay.
That she again is funding from cash flow from the business, so it's purchasing
Amazing.
without
Good
loans.
example.
Well, I always I don't like to, I don't want getting loans and stuff like that eventually, or cut me my freedom, or I'm gonna be in trouble.
Yeah. No,
I don't like that. I don't like spend what I don't have. I try to be very conscious in what I do, and I just want to sleep good.
Yeah.
Feel free.
You don't have too much stress. So the next food truck, do you already have what it's going to be? Can you tell us what?
We're planning to do chicken wings.
Okay.
And chicken tenders.
Okay, got me.
And we're gonna have maybe a few specials like jambalaya.
Oh.
And we're gonna have grief and strings. and we're gonna have like a beef stew with cornbread.
This sounds
More,
awesome.
because the name is the Great American Food Truck.
Yeah.
And in our first truck, we just sell hot dogs.
Yeah.
But all around the U.S. And that's why our design is a little bit, the
landmarks from around the country, New York,
exactly.
Chicago, Seattle.
But now we want, like say, I like to cook, so I want to cook more.
Yeah.
And then I want to make like more of that American meals, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here and there.
Oh, jambalaya, man. I mean, jambalaya, gumbo, anything from the South, you got me. You had me at chicken wings, especially if they're buffalo. I love that stuff. It's really been awesome for me to hear all this, and I love your confidence. That's one thing that really jumps out at me is like, you're just confident. You're like, oh, I'll go do this. You're not, I don't know.
I have a lot of the I don't know. I have
Sure.
a lot of the I don't know, and David pushed me a lot.
Yeah. Well, you're a good team. That's the thing is,
and years before I used to fight with him a lot of, I'm not there, I'm not ready, but like I say, here in Heber, it's like, it's meant to be, because like you say, every door is getting open and open, so it's like, I have to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
What's one thing that you would give an advice to someone like an entrepreneur that you've learned over the last few years that if someone said, hey, I want to start a business, what's the one thing you'd say, no, do this, I've learned this, please do this?
Well, do it, push yourself,
okay.
And yeah, you're going to be afraid, but do it. And like I say, for me, it's really important that I start small. I start a little. I start with what I have. And I go building it a little bit more and a little bit more. So in that way, I know if that business work.
Yeah.
And I can get there. No, they go, a lot of people tell me, a lot of friends when I first time come, they tell me, but go to the bank. They loan you the money and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to do it that way.
Well, and especially now. I mean, in this time of how hard this year has been,
the
way you have operated and managed the financials, you didn't have to shut down.
Yeah, when we was in quarantine, we was talking about that. Say, okay, I want to get out there, but supposedly I don't should be out there. But in the same time, I still can sleep good because I don't have to pay any loan to anybody, anything. I invest my money.
Yeah.
I want to get my money
Sure.
back, but I don't owe money to anybody. So I still can keep my house. I still can sleep. I still can eat.
Yeah.
So.
Wonderful example. David, how about you? What's the one thing you have learned that you would say, hey, do this?
My advice would be keep your day job as long as you can until you can no longer afford to spend the time doing that, because your new gig is so successful, your time is more valuably spent there.
Yeah.
That's one of the big things. Probably other things if I thought about it, but that's a big one.
That's a great one. I just did an interview with Travis from Heber Hatchets. They have 7 locations. He still has his day job. I didn't know that. So he's been. I mean, he's working all night into the. But he just told me, he's like, I have my day job, but you know what? The virus shut these locations down for 5 months and.
Right. How smart does that decision seem right now?
No, and so I love that piece of advice. Okay, my last question for you guys is: you had said a few times you wanted to go to Europe. You have a dream of Europe. So I want to ask, where in Europe? What is it? And
it's all around.
You don't care.
I go to Europe when I was 11 years old.
Okay.
That was my first trip outside of Venezuela. And I go to London. And I just love it.
Yeah.
But I was 11 years old, so it's many things that I don't can do.
Yeah.
And when we get married, we go to Europe. And we play a tour. My dream was to do my honeymoon in Venice, and he made my dream come true. He took me to Venice, but he wanted to see more. So we go to Rome, we go to Pisa, we go to Monaco, we go to Cannes. We was in Grand Prix Monaco.
Wow.
And we go in the Cannes Film Festival.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
We not planned it that way. We was there and this event was happening, and we find a way in.
That's awesome.
He always do that.
He can find his way, huh?
During the Grand Prix, you can't even get off the train in Monaco unless you have a ticket. And we did not have a ticket, but we got off the train and we found tickets.
Yeah.
You're just one of those guys, man.
Yeah.
What about you, David? Where's the place that I know you guys have traveled quite a bit, but where do you have a dream location you just love to go?
I like it here a lot.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm pretty sure that our 2 places are going to be El Yaque in Venezuela on Margarita Island, that will come back someday to us. And here, and between here and there, I think is where we're going to spend our time.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing.
It's
No.
not. The trip's coming. The return trip is coming. The boys will go with us this time when they're a little bit older. She's planning for that trip in the future. So.
I say my first time in Europe was when I was 11, and I enjoyed it, but many things that still I don't can do because of the age. So I was planning to take the boys when they're 14, 15, but I decided I'm going to wait for they be 18 and 19.
Gotcha.
So they can have more freedom and they can do all they want.
Yeah.
Because that was my dream.
Yeah.
I never go to Europe in that age, in my 20s, but so I want to take my boys and then they can have fun.
Maybe you didn't do that, but you've had a heck of a journey. You've had a great journey. I mean, looking back at the history, I don't know if you keep a journal, but it'd be an interesting one. Thank you guys. You guys are a lot of fun. Again, if you guys see the truck around town, and for those of you not in this Hebrew area that listen, I'm sorry. Maybe one day you'll see one of their trucks in the city by you. But for now, if you see the truck, stop and say hi to these guys. As you've heard, they're a blast. They're just good, hardworking, honest people, and it's cool. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We enjoyed it.
It's been a pleasure. So thank you guys. Let me visit, and I appreciate you guys tuning into this episode of The Company Next Door, and we will see you on the next episode.